The hidden evils of tolerance. When it comes to tolerance, most of us have been taught that it's a good thing. We're told that we should be tolerant of others in order to have a harmonious, loving world. In my own explorations, I've found the opposite to be true. It's my experience that tolerance is actually quite destructive. Here's why: most people pretend to like or love others, when really they're just putting up with a person because they feel they have to. This creates a split in the heart. People feel negatively towards a person, yet act nicely. Tolerance lacks integrity because it pretends to express kindness when kindness is not actually felt. In other words, tolerance is a form of subconscious, and sometimes conscious, hypocrisy. In childhood, tolerance was necessary for survival. As adults, we perceive it as necessary because we're unwilling to engage in confrontations or conflicts that would disrupt our life significantly. We continue to be hypocrites because the discomfort of conflict and disruption is greater than the inner drive to align our conscious and subconscious minds with our actions. We're nice and tolerate the person because we are scared what will happen if we don't tolerate the person. Many people would disagree with what I wrote above. People fear losing their jobs if they don't tolerate their bosses. People fear losing loved ones if they don't put up with the aspects of people they don't like. In other words, tolerance is viewed as a necessary evil by most people if we are to survive in the world. The thing to remember is that tolerance is destructive, both inwardly towards ourselves and outwardly towards the world. It creates a facade in which authenticity is lost, and personal power is replaced with fear of change and feelings of insecurity. There are two ways to resolve the hypocrisy. One way is to take actions that are authentic expressions of how you feel. For example, if you feel angry, you respond with aggression and harshness. If you feel you've been judged unfairly or been mistreated, you stand up for yourself. If you feel unimportant, you tell people how hurt you feel. In those examples, taking action is one way to no longer be a hypocrite. That may work sometimes, and it may be the appropriate course of action in some circumstances. Your outer expression is an accurate reflection of your inner experience. That approach will bring your thoughts, feelings, and actions into integrity. Though if you're feeling so rageful that you really want to kill somebody, acting on that would quickly cause irreversible harm and land you in prison, or the electric chair if you live in Texas. So in extreme case, resolving hypocrisy issues through action could potentially lead to very negative and undesirable consequences. More undesirable than the discomfort or pain we feel while staying in the hypocritical state of silently wishing ill will towards others while outwardly acting kindly. That's why the inner critic does not want you to resolve hypocrisy and inner conflicts. The more conflict the inner critic can create within you, the more easily it can keep you controlled within the boundaries of fear. The inner critic has very specific ideas about the worst-case scenario that will unfold when you take actions to bring your feelings and inner world into integrity with your outer world. Therefore, I recommend before you take action in the outer world to resolve your feelings of tolerance and the associated inner hypocrisy, explore another option: do real inner work. This is equally as fearful to the inner critic whose goal is to keep you small, safe, and surviving, in whatever form it thinks is best for you. See, the real issue around tolerance is the hypocrisy, or put another way, the inner experience we have which causes us to feel one way and then act another. Tolerance by nature lacks compassion and authentic kindness. Tolerance covers over our hearts with coldness, and it's that coldness which causes us to act without integrity, that causes us to act one way while feeling another. That coldness is experienced as an insensitivity we have to the world around us, and to our experience in the world. That is a real conflict within that we have at a deep and primal level, and our inner critic is terribly frightened that if we stop tolerating people we will have to come face to face with that conflict. Why? Because if we do real inner work, what happens is that our coldness, our distance, our anger and frustration get transformed into personal empowerment. We learn how to be truly present in the moment and to accept people as they are. When that happens, miracles happen. That's because our inner coldness is transformed into, dare I say it, a form of love. More specifically, compassion as a form of love. We begin to understand how much pain, difficulty, and harshness other people live with. We begin to understand why we used to have so much difficulty tolerating people, and because of our transformed state, because we've done the inner work, we can't help but love them and hold space for their wellness, even if they are acting in ways that are not in alignment with our values or what we consider to be higher values. By shifting away from tolerance and transforming that inner conflict into kindness and love, we can then act in integrity. We can smile and hug those who used to annoy us the most. We can forgive those who hurt us, even before they hurt us, so to speak. We can work for the bosses who criticize our work, and that's all possible because we develop a kind of unconditional love for others. We recognize the difficulties we all face as humans, and we realize that sometimes a smile and a kind word are all it takes to transform a negative experience into a heartful one. Now to circle back, I'm not advocating that just because we do inner work and resolve our tolerance hypocrisy that we'll stay in negative, destructive, or hurtful situations, but instead of reacting negatively, we will have the inner peace of heart and mind, and the personal power to more fully explore which aspects of our life must fall away. We can see which relationships are fulfilling and need to be deepened. We then know intuitively when to engage more fully with an experience. We'll continue to be driven by inner critic thoughts of how we should be to try and avoid what we fear is the worst-case outcome of taking action to resolve conflicts. Tolerance doesn't give us the power to take real, purposeful, personally powerful action. Tolerance disempowers us because our actions are not in alignment with our values and inner truths. That is the real conflict.